In 2009, I published my first ever animation, not counting this thing from 2007. It was my first over a minute animated short film, one might say. You won't find it on this channel, but you will find a remake I did in 2012. The difference is night and day. So, can I improve it even more? You'd hope so with a 12.5-year gap. There are unlisted videos of the 2009 and 2012 animations in the description, much higher quality than the original uploads. Feel free to check those out, but now, let's dive into the new remake. So I'm going to be referencing both the 2009 and 2012 version of this, even though it's supposed to be a remake of the original. They both have the same important beats, and that's going to continue in the 2025 edition. So we're just going to take this shot by shot, starting with the intro, of course, being this ball rolling along. I don't know if I was trying to do a camera move, but the elements kind of slide in while it fades. Then the ball hops in. I don't know if I can call him Bluey anymore because of the hit show. So he hops in and rolls. See, I don't think I want to keep the rolling. In 2012, I changed it to more of a kind of a walk. He's like jiggling along. It feels so simple that I don't know what else I should do with it in terms of like the walking animation, but I'm sure I'll manage. You'll also notice 2009 has a full face while 2012 just has eyes. I think I prefer just eyes, and not just for the sake of saving time. Comes in from this shot, then we cut, and it moves into a parallaxing camera move. There was a lot of stuff I employed back then. The way it cuts off here is obviously just bad. Straight-edged cardboard cutouts. The 2012 one's a bit shorter than I would like. So I'll have this walk cycle go a bit longer, with more background elements and a parallaxing effect. So let me begin by trying to just get the scale and composition of everything. So I'm just gonna draw a circle. Oh my god, this is our character. So the ground can cut off like a third of the way up. And then we'll mark out like where the track is. We'll have various trees. I think this is probably a good size. So do I have more stuff in the back? Like, that's not too important yet. I can always add that. I think I just get to work on making this character walk cycle. To set this new walk cycle apart from the others, I exaggerated Bluey's wobble a lot more. Maybe that's too much. I got to a place I was satisfied with, then added some eyes. I also added eyebrows, so it's halfway between the 2009 and 2012 design. Considering he's walking straight forward at a side view, it never made sense that the eyes were tilted towards the camera, so I put one on a layer behind the head. It ends up flying off the head a couple of times, but I actually like the cartoony style that gives. And that's the first shot done, for now. Of course, I'm going to replace the backgrounds with high-quality drawings eventually. I first set the scene, then had him walk up to the edge of the cliff. I reused the animation from the first shot because there's no reason not to. For the jump, I wanted to use an extreme squash in anticipation, with a more natural shape than just an oval. Then a big stretch on launch before settling into a ball at the apex. Of course, stretching and speeding up on the way down. I had the eyes stretch as well, with the eyebrows lagging behind slightly. So now we've got the underwater shot, the shot where he gets into the water. So in the original, it's crazy how lazy I was. This is just the same grass texture from the opening stretch to infinity, but he just transitions very badly into this. In the 2012 version, we just cut to a shot of this. So I'm gonna do something like that, but probably a bit more zoomed out and including some plant life. It's hard to find reference because I don't really know what to search for, but I wanna have him come into the water and like create a trail like that. Video by Jesse Bond. Yeah, as opposed to just like 10 giant bubbles. I don't know how well I can pull off an effect like this, but it's kind of like smoke. So I'm gonna get started. I had our main character ease down with some animated circles following along for the general shape of the trail. With those circles as a guide, I drew a scraggly shape around it frame by frame. I then deleted most of those frames because it was too long and fast, so I made a shorter, cleaner loop and added in-betweens. With a blur and gradient, it was starting to look alright. I animated some small dots all over the place to act as bubbles. Then on entry I made this bigger bubble loop that fades out. For this rippling effect at the bottom, I animated these rough lines just moving out and blurred it to the extreme. Then lighting at the top of Bluey and a gradient in the background. And it's looking pretty good. By the way, if you're not subscribed, maybe consider doing that. We're creeping towards 100k, and I might have something in store for when that happens. Next we have the jump out of the water onto an island. I did a front flip for this just to make things more interesting and score some style points. The squash on landing is also a little bit more nuanced, with a couple of mini bounces afterwards. I used this sheet style splash for exiting the water. It shoots up fast, then breaks apart and drops down. I used transparent black with highlights at the top and some darker patches throughout. To show I'm reaching the surface, I moved and faded in this shadow. Now for the 7 minutes later into, oh no, he's dead! But actually not. I stuck to the split in half thing and kept the gore relatively tame so it's safe for YouTube. All the background elements are symbols referenced inside the sign, so I can change the real background and the sign at the same time. After animating the camera and saw blades, I made Bluey blink, then turn and walk away. For the second underwater scene, it'll play out similar to the 2012 version. So he drops down, then turns and floats forward. I'm fine-tuning the animation a bit more and shading the head and eyes. But this time I'm actually going to animate a swim cycle. Well, as much of a swim as what I had before was a walk. You get the sense that he's pushing forward. Now a couple of fish swimming. It doesn't need to be detailed, just a little thing floating in the background. These coral things fill out the space nicely. Wasn't going for anything realistic. I had them sway back and forth a bit and used a few different colours. It just adds to the underwater effect, and the parallax helps with the sense of movement. I also put in some light rays. Jumping out into the mainland is pretty easy. I'll just reuse the animation from the island flip. Then he strolls down this piece of land to the pie shop. Some kind of bakery or diner. My drawings are ever so slightly advanced this time, with a little fold at the bottom as he sits. I thought the counter should have something on it, so I put these shapes as placeholders. Now, I wasn't sure exactly how I would do the dialogue, but I end up finalizing these text animations later on. Of course, there's this nice 4-layer parallax for the establishing camera move. I wanted to improve the coin designs. I used gold for the $1 and $2 and bronze on the 50-cent piece. Some shine and a clear outer edge. Also distinct patterns on each one. I had the arm come in at a bit of an angle and the coins continue sliding after the arm stops. The coins on top also slide longer than the other two so it doesn't look like one solid clump. Now we see the pie of the day, and I'll rewrite that to something new when I draw all the backgrounds. So the last scene is walking away from the shop and realizing there's a bomb in his belly. We have the wide shot, then cut to a close-up as he stops. Very standard, just an updated look. But now I'm doing a front view before we show the X-ray. You can see the ocean in the background. He hasn't gone that far. I tried to get this look of surprised mixed with concerned. Then he looks down at his stomach with this slight expression change. I drew this placeholder pie with a bomb. It's a digital timer so we can see it ticking down. I think that'd make a cool ending. Finally, a zoom into the stomach with a smooth transition into the X-ray. I've actually finished the entire animation. Well, the animating portion of the animation. I mean, I'm still going to have some enhancements to do, but the whole thing is basically animated, so I think it's time for backgrounds. So in the last edition of this, I just had these vector drawings done inside Adobe Animate. But lately I've been doing Photoshop backgrounds with this more painterly style, and I think I want to do that for this. Really, it's a style preference, because this right here could be more appealing than a fully painted landscape. But I'm just going to do some digital paintings in Photoshop and see if that looks good. So I took this whole thing shot by shot. drawing backgrounds mostly in 4K. The red box is the 1080p size of the actual animation. Since these backgrounds need to move, I'm extending them beyond the border, and I'll make the left and right edges as seamless as I can since some of them need to loop. The first scene has 8 layers moving at different speeds, so it's not as simple as making a background that looks nice. The grass above the dirt track is split into 2 layers. That means it'll be hard to blend together with any detail because you'll see the split when it moves, so I left it a solid color. The cliff went through a huge upgrade, unsurprising with the years of experience in different software and extra time spent. But after dropping it into Adobe Animate, I thought it really needed some foam and ripple animation, so I did that. Then reflections in the water and some highlights. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on all the backgrounds I drew. It was about 9 hours of recording time and I didn't record all of it, so let's say 10. On top of that, I still had a fair bit to do in Adobe Animate. One crucial element I haven't even talked about yet is sound. I didn't document that process, but I think it was 2 days. While I didn't create any of the audio myself, it still takes a long time to choose the right music and sound effects and edit them. This time, compared to my original renditions, the audio quality is better and there's a lot more variety and just sound in general. For example, when we get to the death sign, the music fades out and we hit a sound effect. Then there's a different song in the diner and after, plus the ambient noise. Anyway, this thing is finally done, so let's take a look and compare. Here are the opening shots for 09 and 2012, and I'm just going to cut between these and the 2025 remake. So, what do you think? I think that's quite a vast improvement. You can watch the full animation on my channel, by the way. It's the video before this one. Yeah, I like what I did with this. I obviously spent way more time on the backgrounds this time, but everything ended up better, really. But if you have any thoughts, I am genuinely curious. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time.